Hey everybody. This is more of a serious video. Normally I don't make serious stuff, but given that everything that's happened this week, it's I feel like it's pretty important to talk about. And also, I want to be pretty clear. I'm not making this video like to profit off a man's death or try to just get as many views as possible. That's not what this is about at all, because this is something that's been plaguing my thoughts over the past like however long it's been. It feels like this has been going on for a month, but the actuality is it hasn't even been a full week since this story broke. I mean, I was working on a regular commentary video to put out today, but you know what, I just couldn't. I'm too distracted by everything that's going on. And this video is going to be more of a raw one, like no fancy edits, nothing like that. They're going to be very minimal edits, and there's no script, so I apologize if I repeat myself a few times or I jump around too many from topic to topic. But I just honestly, if anything, this is just a very therapeutic thing for me to do. But I'm scared, I'm angry, I'm confused, and I'm sad. And of course, what I'm talking about today is the death of George Floyd. Now, I didn't know the guy. A lot of people didn't personally know him. He didn't deserve to be stepped on by his neck for 8-9 minutes straight. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, I'm a very empathetic person, so I tend to a lot of times put myself into their shoes. So I'm trying to imagine myself on the pavement floor being stepped on. And this isn't the first time something like this has happened. We all know that. So the media loves reporting all of these times. Black people have been pointed into a dark light. Like, oh, they're all criminals. Oh, if you were to look at the statistics of crimes committed in the U.S., the majority is white people. It's not black, but according to news outlets, it's always black people doing something wrong, and it's never white people. So, but the media is a completely different subject. But the two big reasons I am making this video is because, one, George Floyd's death, and two, I'm scared. I'm scared because, as you can see, I am also a minority. I'm not black, but I am Hispanic. And I know this is definitely way more of a black issue than any of the other minorities. I completely understand. But before the events of this week happened, I did have a fear of police brutality. Because I don't break the law. I don't bring any harm into this world. I stay in my lane and do my thing, and my goal in life is to entertain people, and yet it's very possible that one day I could get pulled over and be a victim of police brutality. It's just, I live in that fear. So of course, since George Floyd's death happened, my fear of police brutality went way up. Like, I'll give you an example. Every day I work full time, and I work second shift, and that's from 4:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. So, and I also live an hour away from work. So from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. I'm driving home, and I've been so tense. I've been so scared, paranoid, and all because I can't risk being pulled over at all, because then the fear will be at an all-time high for I may not live after this. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't have that thought over the past few times I've been pulled over. And I want to be clear about this right now. Not all police officers are evil. I want to say that, just to make that clear before anyone starts throwing accusations around. And I just feel terrible for the good police officers out there, which is the majority. It just must be awful that they're being compared to these evil ones who murder innocent people. And I also want to say that not all white people are evil. Absolutely not. I've known plenty of good people, and plus I've seen a lot of white people come up and be infuriated by this George Floyd situation and have been demanding arrests. So it's been very cool to see all of that being put out there. But I did want to talk about white privilege for a second, because I see a lot of people are confused of what that means exactly. White privilege does not mean that you don't go through struggles. I mean, come on. Every human being on this planet goes through some sort of struggle one way or another. No, white privilege is not living in fear that you're seen as a threat for no reason. And that's something that I go through. That's something that pretty much every minority goes through. Like, the example I'll give right now is, like, if you're a white person and you've been pulled over, I assume the thought you have while you're waiting for the officer to walk by to your car is that, ooh, I hope I don't get a ticket from this. But for me and for many other people of my skin color or darker, have our thought when we get pulled over is like, ooh, I hope I don't get killed from this. And that may sound like an exaggeration, and if it does, there it is. There's the white privilege. Because we are automatically seen as a threat. For no reason. Just because of this. Even though I've never committed a crime, I've never broken the law, I never have done anything illegal before in my life. I'm currently a college student majoring in film, and I'm trying to get into the entertainment industry. Even though all of those things are true about me, I am still seen as a threat just because of what I look like. It doesn't make any sense, really, but unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And I don't want to come off as, like, being selfish, like, oh, like in this video, like, oh, it's all about me, because it's definitely not. As I've mentioned, this is way more of a black issue, but I'm still fearful because this still could happen to me. This could happen to my father, my friends, my uncles, cousins, like, all of us. Anyone who looks like this, it's fair game to any police officer who feels like just stopping us and ruining our lives for no reason. You know, it's funny imagining the people in the 80s and the 90s. When they thought of 2020, they thought, oh, there'd be flying cars and robot servants and all of that good jazz. But as you can see, for us, we can see, no, none of that fucking happened, and we're still not whatever. The point is, another thing they might have thought of was like, oh, well, racism has to be over for sure by then. And you would think that would be the one thing that was true. You'd think that out of flying cars, robot servants, racism, you'd think that the racism was the more realistic one. But so it's just baffling that we're closer to flying cars and robot servants than we are to ending racism. Does that not, like, make you just so frustrated? And I've seen people say, oh, people die randomly every day. Like, I don't get what's the big deal. And, like, and first of all, let's stop defending the four horsemen of bigotry, all right? They don't need any defense whatsoever for what they did. And second of all, there's a difference between what they're comparing it to. Like, this may be a weird thing to be calling it, but let's call them natural deaths. And what falls under that umbrella would be people from dying from fatal car accidents, or people dying from a terminal illness, just stuff like that. Those would be natural deaths. But there is a difference, because when it comes to those things, they're not targeted by specific people. Cancer doesn't go, oh, I could either infect myself into this white man, or I can infect myself into this black woman. So, I'm gonna go with the woman because I don't like that she's black. Like, that's not a thing, okay? Same thing with car accidents. People just don't go, if I'm gonna go in a car accident, oh, there's a black person driving. It's like, no. Natural deaths are fair game. They pick and choose. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, white or black. Natural deaths could happen to anyone, all right? But police brutality is specifically targeted to people of color, all right? And I know that there are a lot of protests and riots happening right now, and people don't like that that's, like, the resolution here, but, like, what do you expect? This has happened so many times now. It as I said before, it's not just George Floyd. Many people who I wish I could name their names right now, but unfortunately I'm pretty ignorant on how many deaths have happened due to police brutality. These people who are rioting are just tired of not seeing results. This keeps happening over and over again. So of course they have to go to the extreme just to see, okay, let's stop this. Let's actually do something about it. Let's hold these men accountable. To start wrapping things up, I am scared to drive at night. Even though I follow all the rules, I still am afraid of the law. And yes, police brutality is definitely more of a black issue, but any minority can be a victim from this. I may not be black, but I'm definitely not white either. In the description, I'm leaving a couple of links in there regarding George Floyd's death, petitions. I don't know if his family started a GoFundMe for his funeral or anything like that, but just in case there is, I'm going to look around, see if I can find it, and if there is, I will definitely put that in the description as well. And hopefully you took away something from this. Hopefully I said something that really resonated with you. But this is down to a point where it's ridiculous. No, I just became ridiculous years and years ago. But if you can only take one thing from this video, then let it be this. His name is George Floyd. And he couldn't fucking breathe.